Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is our February first week episode. And I understand this was a very short, we didn't put in enough time before putting the episode, but it's just because it was very difficult to coordinate time on this one because I'm outside India for work and Rohit also had his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Rohit! Slightly delayed, but yeah. What we wanted to do was to continue the momentum going, and although it's just three SMEs, we wanted to just do a space to cover our read of these three SMEs. Uh, so it will be a short space and we will probably just get going. Just want to highlight a couple of things before we get started. One, we are not SEBI registered research analysts. So none of our opinion is a qualified opinion. Definitely do your due diligence and only use it as a supplement. Nothing can beat what you are planning to do and none of this can be used saying that we said so. So we just share our opinion. Second, if you haven't joined our YouTube channel for some reason, it's in the pinned comments. Definitely go ahead and join the YouTube channel as well, where we'll put the space as well as we continue to put all the IPOs that we reviewed there. In terms of the order, we will start with Chamunda Electricals. I understand that IPO is already over, but we just wanted to kind of review the IPO once, share our read of it, and then probably move to Amwill Healthcare, and then probably close with Ken Enterprises. So that's the order which we'll be following. Just setting up Chamunda Electricals. The company specializes in operating and maintaining up to 66 kilowatt substations, testing and commissioning for up to 220 kilowatt substations, and 1.5 megawatt solar power generation. It has a team of more than 600 engineers, supervisors, and other supporting staffs. Just setting up the IPO. It's a 15 crore IPO, all of which is a fresh issue. Very tiny IPO, just 15 crores being raised at a market cap of 55 CR. That's why we saw so much subscription as well, going all over the place. In terms of the financials, the company had done 20 CR revenue last FY24 and had a PAT of 2.5 crores. So it's coming at like 22 PE FY25. Although these numbers are so small that it doesn't make much sense per se. In terms of the LM is GYR Capital. I remember one more very small IPO of GYR had came in pretty recently. I think Toss the Coin was by them. But yeah, so that is with respect to Chamunda Electricals. Over to you, Yash, to kind of give a very high level review of Chamunda and what do you think about the company?
Sure, Manish. Can you hear me, Manish?
Yeah.
So Chamunda Electrical is engaged in providing specialized services within the power sector. So it mainly focuses into two parts. The one is operation and maintenance of substations up to 66 kilowatts. Then the other is testing and commissioning of electrical substations up to 220 kV. They also does erection of EHV class equipment, structures, earthing, and control cable works for up to substations to 220 kilowatt, which is D class. They also have 1.5 megawatt of solar power generation park. So this company का जो business model है, वो business model is just similar to, मतलब is exactly similar to the other EPC companies. Service based industry है, ठेकेदारी का काम कर रहे हैं पूरा 89% revenue comes from government body, जिसमें से it is mainly through this O&M. O&M से ही आता है सारा का सारा. 10% is what it comes from private sector. ठीक है, तो जो ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ इशू है वो मैं क्विकली कवर कर देता हूँ. तो ये लोग कैपेक्स के लिए पैसा उठा रहे हैं. व्हाट दे आर डूइंग, दे आर परचेजिंग न्यू टेस्टिंग किट्स एंड इक्विपमेंट, जिसमें ये लोग 1.2 करोड़ रुपीज एक्सपेंड करेंगे. देन व्हाट दे आर आस्किंग इज कि इनको वर्किंग कैपिटल के लिए फंड्स चाहिए. उसके लिए दे आर रेजिंग 5.5 करोड़. Then they are asking to repay the whole debt on their balance sheet, जिसके लिए they are raising 2.8 crores. The rest is general corporate purposes. So one interesting thing about the promoter is कि इसमें मैं थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ कि जो इनके होल टाइम डायरेक्टर है, ही इज 74 years old, प्लस उनका 30 years ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस है इन गुजरात इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड एज एन एग्जीक्यूटिव इंजीनियर. तो आई थिंक it is quite visible from his experience that he has very good experience considered what they are doing, कि पूरा काम सर्विस का है. ठीक है, अगर ऑर्डर बुक की बात करूं तो कंपनी का करंट ऑर्डर बुक इज क्लोज टू 65 करोड़, जिसमें से एक ऑर्डर के L1 है, 38 करोड़ का ऑर्डर है. ठीक है, अभी currently they have 77 substations under O&M in गुजरात, एंड अगर ये नया ऑर्डर भी आ जाता है तो नए ऑर्डर के साथ उनको ऑलमोस्ट 53 सबस्टेशंस और मिल जाएंगे। तो जो O&M कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता है ये यूजुअली 3 साल का होता है, 3 साल प्लस 2 साल का एक्सटेंशन होता है इसमें, ठीक है। और अगर एम्प्लॉयज एक्सपेंस की बात करो तो वन थिंग विच आई फाउंड वेरी स्ट्रेंज इज कि इनके 637 परमानेंट एम्प्लॉयज हैं, विच इज आफ्टर बीइंग कट डाउन दिस ईयर। मतलब पहले 880 एंड 800 समथिंग थे, देन अभी 637 बचे हैं। उसके बाद भी इनका जो कॉस्टिंग पड़ रहा है इट्स ऑलमोस्ट 3 करोड़। तो फुल ईयर पे मैं देखूं तो 4 करोड़ के आसपास पास कॉस्टिंग पड़ेगा इनका 637 परमानेंट एम्प्लॉयज का। तो ये यूजुअली बिजनेस में कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल लेबर ज्यादा यूज होता है, पूरा बिजनेस ही कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल लेबर का होता है। तो आई एम नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि इतने कम पैसे में हैव दे जस्ट टेकन दोज कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल लेबर इनटू देयर पीएनएल एंड फुल टाइम हायर करके पीएफ वगैरह भी दे रहे हैं उन्हें, ठीक है। बैलेंस शीट की बात करूं तो डेट का पोजीशन तो अब बिल्कुल कम हो जाएगा, तो इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट देना नहीं पड़ेगा, दे विल सेव दैट मच। वर्किंग कैपिटल प्रोजेक्शंस जो कंपनी ने दिया हुआ है, दे हैव सेड कि हमें 4 करोड़ FY25 में चाहिए एंड 5 करोड़ FY26 में, प्लस दे हैव आल्सो गिवन द गाइडेंस इन देयर आरएचपी इटसेल्फ फॉर FY25। दे हैव मेंशन्ड दैट कि हम 25 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू करेंगे इस साल, ठीक है। और उस 25 करोड़ पे आप ऑलमोस्ट पकड़ के चलो कि 12 करोड़ 10-12% का नेट प्रॉफिट मार्जिन दे कैन डू। सो मोटा मोटी 3 करोड़ का पैट दिखा देगी कंपनी, 3.5 करोड़ तक का। और जो मेजोरिटी ऑफ कॉस्ट है इनके बिजनेस में राइट नाउ व्हाट आई कैन सी इज कि मेजोरिटी ऑफ जो कॉस्ट है इट इज गोइंग टू फिक्स कॉस्ट। 80% का फिक्स कॉस्ट आया है, विच इज वाई व्हेन दे हैव स्केल्ड द रेवेन्यू उनका जो पैट मार्जिन था इट गेट इम्प्रूव्ड बिकॉज ऑफ द लेवरेज कमिंग इनटू प्ले। अभी सिमिलरली 20 करोड़ FY24 का रेवेन्यू है, तो ओवरऑल जो एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट एक्सपेंस है वो 13 करोड़ है। 67-70% ऑफ द रेवेन्यू इज द एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट एक्सपेंस, सो दैट इज क्वाइट वियर्ड। बाकी तो कंपनी ठीक है, अप्लाई किया जा सकता है बिकॉज कमिंग एट अ वेरी लो बेस एंड लो पी। तो 60 करोड़ का पोस्ट इशू है मार्केट कैप में, आई थिंक 20 का पी बैठ रहा है ऑन एनुअलाइज बेसिस, तो देयर माइट बी सम लिस्टिंग गेन्स पॉसिबल एज वेल। एंड छोटा इशू है, जीवाईआर का इशू है, तो आई थिंक लिस्टिंग गेन्स अच्छे ही मिलते हैं जीवाईआर में। इज अ गुड एलएम। रिसेंटली खाली एक डेल्टिक था which went below near the IPO price and was constantly hitting lows, but I think this is a very small issue, so should be manageable for them, and growth भी इस साल ठीक ठाक है, तो अच्छा परफॉर्म कर सकता है ऑन लिस्टिंग। बट हैव अ शॉर्ट टर्म व्यू, जस्ट डोंट होल्ड इट फॉर लॉन्ग बिकॉज बहुत छोटा मार्केट कैप है, तो थिंग्स कैन गो ईदर वे।
Manish, you're on mute.
Rohit, can you hear Manish?
No, I can't. Don't know what he's up to.
I think I'll call him. By the time, let's move on.
ठीक है, ठीक, he seems to be having some trouble. ठीक है, I think we can move on then to Amwill. Acha, I think he's on. Yeah, he's back.
I want
He's
to
back.
see if I can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I can't.
Okay, I think Manish seems to be having some trouble. Anyway, let me just add one thing to what Yash said. So like we've seen these kind of small PC players do okay on listing, but very quickly gravity pulls them back down. I'm just thinking of players like a Winsol or a Rulka, which are also these small contract kind of EPC. They do kind of O&M kind of work. Not the large scale EPC projects, a lot of subcontracting type of work. I don't think the market will give this multiple outside of the listing pop. And even if there is a listing pop, my sense is this will very rapidly come back down. So I don't think this is something worth chasing. At least I personally won't. And allotment mil jaye to theek hai, but I think it's already subscribed some 2000x or something, some crazy number in HNI. So yeah, I mean, that's just one thing I wanted to add. Manish is still not sorted. Has
Yeah,
he?
no,
Yes,
no,
he's sorted. Okay.
I am here. I am here. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with Rohit what he said कि खाली listing gain मिल रहा है तो ले लो and then निकल जाओ, वो ज़्यादा better है because given the current market conditions ये तो नीचे ही जा सकता है because Winsol is also not getting high P. Even many P derating has happened in the subcontracting space as well.
Yeah, at this scale, it's not really a PE game, right? It's just the cornering of floats. And the thing is, until you know something, you can't play this game. So maybe that may be the reason to stay out, if I can say so.
Even the small ones, even some of these other ones are small only when they listed. They list well and then they will very quickly get dragged back down. So just be wary on listing, post listing.
Got it. Maybe with that, we can move forward and talk about the second company, Ken Enterprises. The company is engaged in business of textile manufacturing. They utilize third-party manufacturing services for production of grease fabric on a job work basis, located in and around Ichalkaranji, Maharashtra, key fabric weaving hub. Just setting up the IPO. It's a big size IPO. It's a 84 crore IPO, out of which 58 crores is a fresh issue and around 25 crores is a OFS. So काफी बड़ा OFS भी है where promoters taking a partial exit from the company and 58 crore company खुद के growth capital के लिए raise कर रही है. In terms of the market cap is 230 crores. So it's coming at 230 crores. So if you see, they're diluting quite a heavy chunk. Like 80 crores dilute कर दे रहे हैं वो 230 crores पे. So they're diluting 33%, much more than the mandated 26% per se. In terms of the FY24 financials, they did a revenue of 409 crores and a PAT of 9 crores. So a very low PAT margin industry, it seems. Just 2% type का इनका PAT margin है. 9 crores करने PAT किया 231 CRs पे आ रहे हैं. So it seems like a like very high PE per se, at least for a textile company from the outskirts. 30 PE type पे आ रहा है. LM जो है नया LM है, Corporate Makers Capital. पहली बार सुन रहा हूँ मैं. इनफैक्ट पहला इशू है उनका. So with that, maybe Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about your understanding of Can Enterprises?
I think Tanmay has to talk about that, right? I'm talking
I'm
about
covering this
Amwill. Go ahead, Tanmay.
My bad.
Manish,
So,
Manish is in the US and सब उल्टा पुल्टा हो रहा है.
Tanmay, up
मेरा
to
आवाज
you
आ रहा है
to
ठीक से?
go ahead and talk about Ken.
आवाज आ रहा है मेरा ठीक से?
Yes.
So Kane Enterprises Limited is a Ichalkaranji, Maharashtra-based manufacturer of textile products for purposes like apparel, industrial, technical, shirtings, and they also manufacture these grease fabrics. Okay. So this company is raising 83.75 crore, out of which 58.3 is the fresh issue and 25.4 is OFS. In the fresh issue, 25 crores is towards working capital. 6.2 crore has been kept aside for unidentified acquisitions. 4.5 crore for purchase of machinery. 3.8 crore for capex. Issue expenses as 5.24 crore and GCP at 13.5 crore. मतलब यार अगर मैं net में बोलूँ ना, if I check out the issue expenses plus unidentified acquisitions plus GCP plus this OFS, so I would say कि like almost 83.7 में से almost 55 crore ऐसा है जिसका कोई एक कहते हैं ना productive use towards the company बिल्कुल नहीं है. Okay. And in this capex actually in the IPO meet there were very few, I guess almost 5-6 people online. I was also in it, so I asked many questions to the management. One of my earlier question was कि sir ये जो आप परचेस ऑफ मशीनरी कर रहे हो 4.5 crores का प्लस 3.8 crore capex, तो इससे कितना आपका कैपेसिटी इंक्रीज हो जाएगा. He said it would increase by very few for small margin. He said कि 7-8 से around 7-8% से हमारा कैपेसिटी बढ़ेगा बोले. Okay. I'll come on its financials. In FY23, the company did a revenue of 375 crores and PAT of 3.95, almost 4 crores PAT, 1.08% PAT margin. In FY24, the company did a revenue of 409 crores and PAT was 8.9 crores. Okay, and मतलब सबकी तरह इसका भी IPO से पहले PAT बढ़ जाता है बहुत ज्यादा. And first 8 months, the revenue is at 333 crores and PAT is at 9.5 crores. And in the as companies raising funds for working capital, they have specifically mentioned कि हम FY25 हमारा कितना revenue देख रहे हैं. So that's it कि we are seeing a revenue of 475 crores. Okay. And if I just annualize the PAT, if I calculate the PAT based on the current PAT margin, the PAT is coming at roughly 13.7 crores. Okay. So the company is valued at 231 crores. And on FY24, the P is coming at 26 times and on FY25, 16.7 times. Now, interesting thing here to notice, the company's manufacturing units are already running at 98% capacity utilization. 98% both. Okay, combined level. And the company is doing similar kind of revenues from past 3 to 4 years, and suddenly now the revenue is increasing from 333 to 475 even after no increase in capacity. Okay. And now one small reasoning here could be they have started some manufacturing from third party contract manufacturers, but that is a very small portion of the revenue and not yet have materialized at a very large scale. But I don't understand कि ये 333 से 475 98% utilization पे कैसे हो जाएगा. I cannot understand that. Okay. One more thing is the company has no anchor book. Okay, completely book build issue. So I'd asked the company's promoter in front ki sir, seeing the scale of your company and the issue size, you should ideally have a anchor book. So why haven't your banker chosen the anchor book? The promoter said ki it was advised by our lead managers that for the company it would be wise to do a fixed price issue and not going via anchor book. Okay, so that didn't sound convincing to me, because if you are raising 84 crores and you don't have anchor book, so that float is actually quite high. The LF is very new, it's Delhi based, this corporate Makers Capital, and the MM is Giriraj. Okay, जो उनका last IPO ये था आपका Rexpro Enterprises, that listed I guess 22% discount. मतलब LC लग गया था प्री ओपन में, मतलब उससे ज्यादा लिमिट होता तो उससे नीचे भी चला जाता वो, but that did wet. But I would say कि overall the company is supplying its garments to Zara and this kind of like high profile brands, and a promoter, I saw the promoter, he is well qualified and I would say very high, well qualified player, but he was very sound minded and very good person, but he wasn't able to give that convincing answers. Company isn't bad, but this sudden rise in profits, the valuations are also on higher side, like FY25 to 17-18 times for a textile company, that too at 98% capacity utilization, and this few red flags. Like it sounded I would say कि neutral सा company है, not very very encouraging. One interesting point here is before IPO the promoter holding is 81.2%. Post IPO it would come at 49.7%. So this rest 19% is with 3 FIIs, okay, which have invested I guess long back. And I had asked him, the promoter also, ki do they have any kind of exit plans? He said ki as of now they don't have any kind of exit plans. They continue to remain the shareholder, but I couldn't get enough profile on the investors, very new names. So overall, I would say ki the listing will be depend on the market sentiment. If the market sentiment is neutral or bad, this should ideally list in discount, and if the sentiment is very very good, then it can list at slight premium. But I don't find any reason to give this company a premium over issue price. The reason is simple. And actually, I had asked one more question, sir, how much revenue growth the company is targeting? He said the company is targeting 8 to 10% growth, but FY25 mein their RHP is showing almost a 30%, 35% of growth with 98% utilization. So I would say the puzzles are not at all matching. And one more very interesting point is the name of the company Kane, okay, this trademark and company name is not registered, okay, and they are 2017 से unregistered है. I asked him कि sir इस पे क्या update है. He said कि we have already filed for trademark. For patent he didn't say anything, but for trademark we have filed, and we are what we can say looking forward to get it trademarks very soon. But यार वही है ना, IPO के पहले आपने 7-8 साल तो कुछ किया नहीं, IPO के टाइम पे आपको लगता है कि केन ये नाम यार ट्रेडमार्क होना चाहिए. So I would say कि you should avoid this company. Company is not bad, but the valuations it's demanding and the lack of clarity it has shown in the, I would say RHP is very good. It's nice. It's made very proper, but lack of clarity on many aspects. So it's an avoid from my part. Not very excited, not very worst company, but not even an investable business.
Got it. At least on like prima facie again seems like a clear avoid, right? Because इतना बड़ा float है कैसे manage होगा? OFS है 30%, promoter holding 50% हो जा रही है. So all of those things just seem like कि for
The
now just
textile
avoid.
company है, and LM is also new, okay, and the MM is गिरिराज. So वो रेक्सप्रो का अगर मतलब सिमिलर हाल था तो इस पे क्या ही मतलब प्री ओपन में एलसी लगना बहुत ही निराशाजनक चीज है. मतलब वही है ना कि इसका और नीचे शायद कैपेसिटी तो इससे भी नीचे लिस्ट हो सकता था. वो एलसी मतलब प्री ओपन में इज आई वुड से वेरी बैड थिंग. मतलब यार लॉट टू से, बट it might list at a very good discount, but I would say कि safe players should ideally avoid this IPO.
Got it. That's a comprehensive review. I don't think I have anything to add. Rohit, yes, you guys have anything to add, or I can finally go to Amwill Healthcare.
I think that 10% growth plus the margin, not margin, but the multiples for textile, both are not at all going to excite the typical SME investor. So it's going to need a very different kind of investor to come in buy this. I'm fairly I wouldn't be surprised if this listed at a discount. It's going to be difficult to manage this issue.
Got it. Maybe with that, we'll kind of go forward to the third company, Amwill Healthcare. This was one company which, at least at a prima facie, I was excited with to begin with, and then there were some issues which germinated. Maybe Rohit, you can give your review later, but just setting up the company, it's a derma cosmetic development firm that develops generic dermatological solutions and formulates targeted solutions for dermatological issues such as acne, fungal infection, anti-aging, etc. Just setting up the IPO, it's a 60 CR IPO, so big size IPO, out of which 49 CR is fresh issue and 11 CR is a OFS. So it's maybe OFS 11 CR ka. The market cap at which it is coming is 222 crores. So they are diluting like 28% of their stake to 22 crore market cap. And in terms of the FY24 financials, the revenue was 44 crores and the PAT was 12.5 crores. So they did a 44 crore revenue and PAT 12.5 crores. They are coming at 222. So they are coming at like 18 P FY24. In terms of the LM is Unistone Capital. So with that, maybe Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about them?
Sure. I do find this company interesting, but I'll come to the review at the end, or the view at the end. So, like Manish said, this is a derma cosmetic development company. They focus, so this company that we are bothered about, the one that's coming for the IPO, Amwill Healthcare, is just focused on the product development and the marketing of the product. They have a separate entity called Amderma Healthcare, which does the storage, distribution, and so on. And that becomes important later because these are two separate entities and we only have information about one of them, which makes it a little complicated. So this company, which is a product development and selling sort of company that does the marketing and gets the orders, these guys basically solve these different kinds of dermatological, cosmeceutical, aesthetic kind of issues. They do this either through generic information with generic solutions, which is you will have, standard formulae, which these guys will then just create the product and brand it. Or they also do some amount of specific solutions for, issues like say acne or infections, hair fall, and so on. So there's a whole bunch of them, vitiligo. So all of these things, and the solution is typically in the form of say a cream, some shampoo, different kind of solutions and so on. So that is what these guys do. They do the product formulation and development. That's all this company does. They also actually get so how does this work? They have a bunch of people on the field. These are sales agents who will go and talk to doctors, to dermatologists, to physicians, and so on, and like say all of these clinics, hospitals, and so on, and understand what are the gaps, what are the products those doctors need to sell on to their customers. Then they would create the prototype for it. They would create a formulation, create a prototype. Doctor would check if it's okay. Then these guys would create that product, or they would create a trademark, a brand for it, and sell it on to that doctor for him to sell it forward. That is the basic business model. They have almost 112 products, and I think most of their products are skincare related. They have about 112. What was not clear to me is how much is this generic sort of formulation versus anything with any real R&D. So that breakup is not there. Everything else, which is the manufacturing, distribution, all of that gets outsourced to other people. So they use contract manufacturing. So once they have that formulation, they'll get it manufactured from some third party. Once the product is with them, they then give it to this other entity of theirs, this other group entity, Amwill Healthcare, which is a carrying and forwarding agent. So unlike what I understand typical carrying and forwarding agents do, which is just the logistics bit, they actually sell the product on to Amderma. So what you will see in their revenue mix is that almost 100% of their revenue just comes from selling it to Amderma, who then actually distributes it to the doctors and the dermatologists and so on. That's a slightly weird thing. I've not really seen this. Normally, I think CNF agents, they would only take a fee for the for their service, which is the logistics and warehousing and whatever. So I don't know, maybe this is a normal thing or not, but I was not sure. I found that a bit strange. Amderma as such will keep a very small margin. They barely keep 3 or 4%, I think is what they've mentioned in the RHP. So one interesting thing is, see, this segment, cosmetics, it's a famously high margin business. I have studied some of these companies many years ago, almost 8-10 years ago, in the private space. And it doesn't surprise me at all that these guys operate at a 75% kind of gross margin, and a 30-40% EBITDA. If you look at their gross margins also over the last 3-4 years have been steady. They've been in the 60 to 70-75%. It's very, very healthy gross margins. And with scale, you can see that some of their costs are fairly fixed. And the EBITDA has shot up like crazy in FY24, and it is sustained in FY25 also. But the kicker for that is actually just the gross margin, right? The gross margins are so good. And is nothing unusual, is what I will say. This is how it is in the cosmetic industry. It just operates in that is how this thing operates. The business actually done fairly well. Last year they did about 44 crore with almost 12.5 crore PAT, which is again phenomenal. They're growing well. At least last 3 years they've grown well. They are projecting some more growth, though if you look at H1, it hasn't, I would say it was half of last year. So nothing suggesting huge growth this year. But in their projections, they have suggested that they should be able to touch 60-65 crore this year. So let's see. I'm not sure if they will, given how much they've done in H1. The balance sheet is also fairly light because it is such an asset-light business, just a product formulation business. So balance sheet is also light with a good amount of cash also in their books. But there is a big jump in receivables in this last year, which is unexplained. So this is kind of the problem with this business. This Amderma, which is their carrying and forwarding agent, it's like a shield, right? You cannot see what is happening beyond Amderma. You don't know if the products are actually selling, beyond. Is inventory getting stuck? Are payments coming or not? You don't know what is happening beyond Amderma because that is a private company and we don't have their numbers, and the RHP has not disclosed any of the financials of Amderma. That for me is the biggest problem. If there was some way for us to understand that, if there was some good management interview where he clarifies some of these things, I actually like the company quite a lot. I like the sector that they're in quite a lot. But this wall through which we are not able to see is what is keeping me sort of, uncertain. It is also very, very odd to see this, a book built issue without anchors. Very strange that they couldn't get a single anchor. I've been seeing a lot of random promotions on Twitter also. If you type Amwill, you will see lot of people with like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 followers just tweeting randomly about Amwill. So something is up. Anyway, let's leave that. Let's not think too much. On fundamentals, I think this company is fairly unique. It's fairly interesting. It's coming at a reasonable valuation in my view from from something which operates in this kind of a niche space. I don't think there's any comparable business that I could see. It's coming at about 17 times FY24. FY25, it might be even cheaper depending on the revenue that they hit, but there's no absolute clarity on what the business is targeting, given the lack of interviews. For me, this is actually something that I am going to personally avoid But I'm actually going to track this very closely on listing. I will keep some funds free, and based on how it lists and what it does post listing, I might actually be tempted to take a bet. But I will probably avoid this IPO and will only get in if I feel that there is some general interest. Overall, of the three, I found Chamunda to be a very normal average business. But of course, for listing gains, one can apply. Ken Enterprises for me did not become a very boring business, but this is actually a fairly unique business. So this was the only one that I found that was worth tracking, post listing.
Rohit, you did mention about some trade receivable, right? But if I get it right, then they can show any revenue, right? Because you don't know कि उसमें से actually कितना sell हुआ है. So what is the
Correct.
quantum of trade receivable? Is it too high?
It's 20-25%. No, it was much low. The main thing is it was very low in FY23 and FY22. In FY24, the receivables have jumped a lot, and the receivables have kind of maintained that level in FY20, like whatever H1 as well. I think some 11, 12, 13 crore on a 40 odd crore revenue base. So it's about 25%. Whereas if you see 2 years ago, that number was 3 crore on 30 crores. It was just about 10%. So the receivables have jumped way more than sales have jumped. And like I said, it's a wall. We don't know what is going on beyond Amderma. And if there was some clarity on that, in fact, I've asked somebody to try and dig up the financials of Amderma also, just to see if they are stuck with a lot of inventory or are they able to circulate the inventory very quickly. You do get it, right? In ROC, you can get that data. So I'm trying to see if it's possible to get that information, but just based on the RHP, that information, it's completely unclear what is happening once the product goes to Amderma.
Got it. And it's a sister concern only, right? Or is it a different promoter?
It's a promoter. It's a promoter group entity. It's well defined as to what Amderma can do and cannot do. And it's a CNF agent dedicatedly set up to service Amwill. They don't have any other clients. They simply operate as the entity through which all transactions for Amderma happen. What happens with that is Amwill then becomes purely a product formulation business, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the fact that 100% of it goes to this one entity and we're not able to see into that entity clearly is the problem. And so you don't know what is happening. We don't know if actually for them in the last year, suddenly their inventory is piled up by say 40 crore, 30 crore or 25 crore, which is say half the sales here. So then we don't know whether the products are actually getting off taken at the end, by the doctor or not. But that is what is giving me that pause.
Got it. Seems like a void then, especially because of
I have a small doubt. The company is raising funds for working capital. So are there any projections given? And the trade receivables or inventory days something figure in the working capital?
Yes, in the working capital, they are saying they will grow by how much? I think 65 crore or something for this year. But H1 is only 23. And I don't think this is so seasonal that they can grow 40 crore suddenly. Maybe it is the lack of the funds, and once they have funds, they'll be able to unlock it. But they're basically saying that they want to give higher, repayment window to the end client. So even if they have to get the money from Amderma has to get the money from the doctors and the dermats and whoever. And they're trying to go into 2-3 new geographies. They currently operate, I think, mostly in South India. They want to add, I think, West Bengal and one more, Bihar or Orissa, I'm forgetting the name. So in order to do that, they want to be able to give more credit period to the final doctor. So I didn't find anything ingenuine. It is just the veil, right? That one entity in the middle is putting, which if we could see through would give a lot more comfort to me. But in terms of what they're projecting 65 odd crore, I think, based on their working capital for FY25. And then I think another 30% of growth beyond that.
What figure is the trade receivables?
It's around 25% of their revenue.
No, absolute figure.
In current is around 11 or 12 crore. And next year for FY25, they're saying 15 crore.
Means out of 28-29 crore of balance sheet size, almost 11 to 40% is trade receivables only, correct?
Correct. Because there's nothing else. No, this is a product formulation company. They don't have any assets. They don't have they don't have land, assets, machinery, capex, nothing. They only have cash and they only have receivables. There's nothing else because this is a development business. You can say it's a product development business. So they won't have anything else in the balance sheet.
Understood.
Got it. So seems like a void. Maybe with that we have covered the IPOs for today. I understand Monday को भी कुछ IPOs close हो रहे हैं. So people want to understand if they want to save. Like ideally, what should be the strategy? Are you saving any money for ReadyMix and Solarium? So maybe do you guys have any updates on that? Tanmay, what do you think about ReadyMix and Solarium? And just summarize the space and then we can end in the next 5 minutes.
So ReadyMix is looking quite good to me. And I'll clarify one point. Okay, so when you look on the last year figures, it looks like it's coming on, I guess, 14 or 15p. Okay, but when you check out the first, how much figures, I guess 6 months are given. So when you do that at TTM level, it looks like it's at 90p, and many people, what can I say, good people are circulating that IPO is coming at 90p. But the thing is, the majority, what we can say, profits in this company are generated in like H2, and just the top line looks in H1. So I would say roughly it's coming at 12.5, 13p only. So people should stop spreading the false things or mislead the retailers ki nahi yaar 90p pe aa raha hai. And one more interesting thing which I liked in it was कि हेम सिक्योरिटीज का दानिश पावर के बाद पहला आईपीओ आ रहा है आफ्टर मिड अक्टूबर, फर्स्ट आईपीओ ऑफ हेम सिक्योरिटीज विच वाज वंस द सबसे ज्यादा वॉल्यूम उसी के थे टोटल आईपीओस. सो आई एंड फ्लोट भी छोटा है, सो आई फील कि मतलब इट्स क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग एंड आई एम कीपिंग सम मनी फॉर इट. बट सोलारियम मुझे अच्छी ऊपर से तो आई हैवंट रेड इट इन वेरी डेप्थ, बट ऊपर से तो कंपनी ठीक ही लगी. बट थोड़ा वैल्यूएशन लाइक यार 20 टाइम्स FY25 आई वुड से कि यार थोड़ा 16, 17, 15 टाइम रहता तो शायद थोड़ा अच्छा लगता है. यस, इट हैज सम गुड प्री आईपीओ इन्वेस्टर्स, लाइक बहुत सारे एक्टर्स है, बहुत सारे फिल्म स्टार्स भी है, कुछ मतलब स्पोर्ट्स वाले भी है आई गेस. सो I don't have any crystal clear verdict on that, but this ReadyMix, I'm almost keen कि I'm going to apply full force. Like I feel it would list like pretty well.
Got it. So I understand next week there are going to be quite a few IPOs. Hexaware is coming. Ajax Engineering is coming on main board. Both very like decent size IPOs. And then we have a few SMEs also. There are a couple other 100 CR SMEs also. Chamunda Healthcare being one, which is 100 crores IPO. So should be interesting. We will review all of these companies on the weekend at our own pace. But yeah, for now, just wanted to give a heads up. Again, I am not planning to apply to any of the 3 IPOs that we covered today, but it was an interesting space just to cover our read and make sure that we can in the future see how these companies are performing and track our read against it. So thank you so much everyone for joining. We will see you guys again in the next space. Bye.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.